All right, for your assignment for the careers assignment, we went through part of this on Wednesday, but just to take you through a little bit on how you are going to accomplish the last few parts. So we went through the first part talking about the different jobs that are typically involved with creating video games or really computers of any sort. What I'm asking you to do now is complete the last couple pages. Okay, so to finish out the rest of the packet, it says here are some good websites to research the job descriptions, career opportunities, waging hiring trends in the game development industry. And so these are just a few, and you're all familiar with MCIS. Another one that might be helpful to you is what's called onetonline.org. So on the first assignment here, it says, what are your career options? The second page looks at the education that may be needed to complete some of those jobs that are available. And then the last one here are looking at actual opportunities. Okay, and so the first thing here is we're looking at, well, what types of career options are available for someone who's interested in gaming, computers. If you're really not a gaming or computer type person, computer technician, computer programming, computer application software, things like that. If you want to do anything on a typical business career, if you want to do something in business and marketing, finance, all those things are going to be needed for an industry that has gaming in it. Okay, and again, most of you are aware of some of the sites like MCIS. All right, and so I know I have that located somewhere here. And so when you go in here, and you can go to this site, and that works well for most of you to do that. If you don't want to use MCIS, you can go to what's called ONET Online. So before going into this site, you need to come up with a possible couple career options. Well, and you're thinking, well, what do I come up with? Well, that's what we just kind of went through. Could it be an artist? Could be a designer? So maybe you're interested in graphic design. Maybe you're interested in web page development. Maybe you're interested in animation. There are tons and tons of things that you could do in terms of careers. And so this is just a starting point for what you're looking at. Okay, and so basically you need to come up with one of those first before you can complete the rest of it. So if you go into MCIS, most of the time you can go under occupations and you can go to choosing occupations and then really find your way through here. You can go through the cluster index based on arts, audio, visual. Most of these will work. Broadcast technician could probably work. You have editors, you have certain types of designers may work as well. The other areas that may work well for you is also, I said anything in business management or administration, finance would work. And so those will be helpful to you. Information technology would definitely be a good one. Any of these could count as occupations that may be available for you in the future. Or you can go to ONET Online, and in here you can do the find occupations and look through that way, or you can just type really within here, really whatever you want. So let's say you want to be an animator. Okay, it'll give you at least some options on what they may come close to. Let's go with multimedia artists and animators. All right, now we have to answer the questions. All right, so we have career option 1. So I'd put animator on the first line, the tasks and duties. The tasks and duties can be listed right here. So I'll just zoom in here quickly. You have tasks that are located here, and sometimes they have multiple places, but this is a good start. Now, I'm not asking you to write down every single one of these. They're only listing 5 of them. Now, if I click that plus button, it lists all 13 of them. So on the instructions, it says list at least 3. Okay, so I go back to my list here and list at least 3 of them. Okay, and you can kind of abbreviate these a little bit, but not completely fully. So you could write design complex graphics and animation. Participate in design and production of multimedia campaigns and budgeting. Create basic design. So you can shorten them a bit, but don't shorten them too much. But you should be able to use that full space here to come up with 3. All right, knowledge is the next one. All right, so I scroll back to the top. I click on knowledge. All right, it says 5 of the 6 displayed, so I'm going to hit that plus sign and go with all 6. So I'm going to list all these headings. I'm going to list communications and media. I need to know design. If I'm going to have this job, I need to know fine arts, computers and electronics, English language, and customer and personal service. You can look through a few more details on what's actually included within there. Next one, describe the job training, experience, and education needed. All right, so what do I need to do ahead of time? So it looks at job training, experience, and education. All right, so let's look at education as a big part of this. All right, so it has a bachelor's degree as required for most of these jobs, specifically the job that we are looking at, again, the multimedia artist. Okay, are there credentials? No, there doesn't seem to be too much that are listed there. Basically, it looks like you really just need to go to school. The other things, again, we're trying to look for here, job training, experience, related experiences under job zone. A considerable amount of work-related knowledge or experience is needed for these, so they do kind of prefer experience and must complete 4 years of college and work several years in accounting or could be considered qualified. Well, I guess it kind of depends what you're going to be doing specifically for this job. So the accounting one make a lot of sense here in this case, but some of the job training will usually need several years of work-related experience on the job training. So there's plenty of things here in this case for that job. How about the job growth? So how big is this job going to actually grow in the future? So I scroll back up to the top. I believe it's under wages and employment. Okay, so projected job growth over the next roughly, if we use 2018, the next 8 years, will be 5 to 9% on average. So I go back here, I'll put in 5 to 9%. Now we look at median wages. Now just remember that this is looking at annually, and it pretty much looks at the mean wage, meaning the average. You could look more detail here, specifically the state that you live in and whatever state you plan to go to. Remember, this is for your purpose here. All right, so we click on Minnesota, and for Minnesota, we have, let's see, the United States has a little bit higher. You may even want to think about, and again, it's for your benefit, just to see how the lowest industry, so when you're starting out here in maybe the next 10 years, you're going to start at the low end. So in Minnesota, you might only make $39,530 to start. Okay, so just consider that as you're putting those answers in. It gives you a little bit more realistic view on the average wage or salary. Okay, and that'll finish up. You pick 2 career options in part 1, and then you can move on to part 2.